You're listening to A Splash More, where we have honest conversations with women who refuse to shrink and aren't afraid to want more. So grab your glass, it's time for A Splash More. Hey, it's Haley. I'm really excited to share today's episode because it's still one of my favorites we've ever recorded. This episode was A Splash More's second ever podcast episode with my friend Nicole Travolta, who I've known for almost 16 years now. She's an actor, writer, and performer, and one of the first people I thought of to have on as a guest when A Splash More just started blooming into a real show. Nicole grew up around a very public family with John Travolta as her uncle, but what this conversation really became was something much deeper than that. It became a conversation about shame, identity, self-worth, validation, and how easy it is to build a version of yourself that looks okay from the outside while you're quietly struggling underneath it. She talks openly about compulsive spending, divorce, and the pressure to be who people expect you to be, but also about what it looks like to rebuild yourself after everything sort of falls apart. And I think what makes this conversation really special is that it was one of our earliest episodes, so you'll also hear from Bailey, who helped shape the heart of the show in its early chapters. You can really hear us discovering what A Splash More was becoming and the kinds of conversations we wanted to create space for together. So whether this is your first time listening or you're coming back to it with us, we're really glad you're here. Here's Nicole. So I'm super excited today because you're meeting my friend Nicole for the first time. Oh. And she was just saying this earlier, but her and I go way back. Like 10, 15 years at this point.
Well, yeah.
2010.
Oh my God.
So almost 16 years.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. When you put it that way, right?
Yeah. When you think about it, because it feels like almost so much time has passed, but no time has passed at all.
No.
Mm-hmm. You know?
And you were just saying that we could go like years without seeing each other, which we have at this point.
Yeah, sure. We like to take breaks.
We like to take breaks, but not like emotional breaks. It's just like, okay. And then we'll see each other a lot for like a month, and then I don't see her again for like 5 years. So.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that you're not aging. So there's that. You know,
true.
You're literally
maybe her soul a little bit through these days. But.
Yeah, my soul in the last couple of days, I feel like, but that's for another. We'll talk about that
for another time.
Mm-hmm. Another episode.
I was just saying that to Haley, that's the best kind of friendship to have, is that even though we don't see each other all the time, it's still that connection of if something were to happen tomorrow and Haley was on the streets, which sounds like could be
by choice.
I would be
by choice.
By choice.
Yeah.
Then I would be there. You know? So it's just that
you have an unspoken friendship, which I agree. Like an unspoken, as far as you know how you show up for each other, regardless of how much time has passed between conversations, which I agree is really valuable.
I think those are some of the best bonds you can have, especially as you get older. I don't know if I'm sure you guys probably agree, but I think as we get older, where the trap falls with friendships is that the expectation of that you sort of fit into this box of who that, you know, of a friendship. And oftentimes people, when you go through difficult times or things change or adjust, they can't accept you outside of that box that they've sort of put you in. And then that lends itself to the friendship sort of ending, where I think as adults, we have to really be conscious of how everyone is at a different point in their life, and we're also fully formed adults, and we all have different ways of dealing with things. And so allowing people to sort of have that space to, you know, whatever they're going through, and maybe it's just life, like there's nothing maybe happening, but it's just life, that you're able to sort of still be there and still be friends with that person. And you know, it's I think it's one of the greatest things that you kind of have like a sisterly family bond with somebody.
You know, I think it's actually a perfect segue to sort of like mentioning what this episode is about.
Yes, please tell me.
Yes. I think that's important. That is important.
If that isn't proof that we clearly don't plan any of these, we just roll with
exactly.
You guys, I'm just kidding. If you could see the professionalism that's going on in here, you would actually like, this is amazing.
We'd love to hear that.
But I'm excited to hear what this episode is.
Yeah, we should tell you.
Also, we are recording on this, right? Did we triple check?
Yeah, I did.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep. Just triple checking, because we've been known to do that as well, not press go or go.
Girls, we're 9 minutes in.
No, what's done is done.
What's done
is done. So we talk a lot about, it's called a splash more. And so what does that mean? It means in a world that's constantly telling us to be less, to be smaller, to be quieter, especially women. I've had a lot of revelations over the last 6 weeks too that I haven't even talked to you about. But like, don't just be even that version of yourself, be a splash more, like be the extra. So not only be the best, biggest, loudest, like whatever version you want to be every single day, be the little extra. So like always searching for what that extra is in life. And doing that, which is what this episode is about, despite our stories. And what does that mean? So it means like you could be walking down this amazing path of joy and you have that thing that just pops into your head, stops you in your tracks, and you're like, I can't experience this joy fully because X, Y, and Z happened years ago, right?
Yep.
And I think a lot of us do it. Like I will be so blissfully happy 1 minute and then I stop and I'm like, oh, but my brother passed away last year. And so every single joy that I'm feeling in that moment is sort of like sucked away. And when I was thinking about putting this episodes together and talking to Bailey about it, I'm like, oh, Nicole would actually be perfect for this because
she was truly one of the first people you thought of. Yeah. She thought of.
Yes, because her story, not only is she showing up, I think, from the outside perspective, as I've mentioned, we haven't seen each other in a few years, but from the outside perspective, I know you've done a lot of work to get to this point, and I'm sure you're still doing the work.
Yes.
But you're not just showing up as the extra, you are like putting it on stage in front of.
I'm already getting emotional. I knew this was going to happen in this freaking room.
We welcome all the emotions.
All the emotions.
Let them flow.
We cry all the time, so please.
It's going to be waterworks in here, you guys.
Waterworks, always. But yeah, no, she's putting it on stage for hundreds of people now to see her whole story played out from her mouth. To really, I think it's part of your work to step into that extra version of yourself so that you can really find what you're meant to do on this planet and what I've always known her to be. So it's like we all have our stories. That I said, right? We're walking down a joy path and all of a sudden you just stop and you think of that thing and you're like, oh, I can't feel this joy because of this. And those things are really hard. And I think a lot of people don't even know how to navigate that. And I know all of us, if I said to you, think of that one thing that's like the ultimate thing that like you do not talk about. And so that thing, that is the breakthrough, right? And it's accepting that. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to like get on a podcast and be like, oh, this is my thing. It's accepting whatever that thing is that's going to get you to the extra.
Yes.
Right? And so my task for everybody here and outside is to think of that one thing. And it probably just popped in my head, and learn how to get over it. Right? Like learn how to get over that thing because that thing and working through that thing is going to be the thing that takes you to the extra step. And that's really what this is about. Right? So it's not just like having conversations around, we all have stuff, right? You have divorce, you have your stuff that I'm not going to speak on for your behalf because you haven't mentioned it. So I'll give you the space to do that if you want. And I have my stuff. I've mentioned my brother. There's a lot of other stuff, but there's also even deeper things, right? Like deeper that like as human beings, we're just like collecting them. And as we collect them, they just weigh heavier on our joy and stop us from stepping into the most powerful version of who we get to be on this planet. And the planet needs powerful people. It needs people who are completely powerful, who know how to break through the barrier of their deepest, darkest shame, because that's really what it is, right? Yeah. It's a thing, but it's shame that we carry with us, that we think that we can't deserve that extra because of that shame. We've talked about it. This has been really hard for me to accept that this could be my thing. It could be my thing to like step into a room like this, have these conversations, put a camera in front of me, put a microphone in front of me, and use my voice in a way that I have always known I should have used it, but haven't because of all of my stories holding me back.
Yep.
So That's all I had to say about that.
But that's really powerful. Yeah. I mean, Haley, it's so powerful. I've known you for a long time. And I believe that I said it just so your listeners know that when I walked into this room, I got chills. And I immediately it's not scared, but I was like, oh, this is a very powerful room. And I think it's how I feel almost. So it's a testament to what you guys are doing, is that when I get up on stage, I feel that same thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel this like wave of, here we go. And I think that is, you have got both of you to be sitting here and doing this and having these conversations, have positioned yourself. I don't believe that the work is ever done. I think that you could live your whole life working on that thing of forgiveness. I know that I need to forgive myself for things. I know that I struggle with deep self-worth issues and not giving myself love. Mm-hmm. And that could be something that, whatever your individual thing is that we're working on for potentially for the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. But it's the fact that you're willing to do it and that you're willing to show up for yourself like that. Because not most people, I don't want to say that, actually, that's a pretty big thing, but there are a lot of people that will not do it. And in the process, they're destructive. Yeah. And they're destructive to themselves and they're destructive to other people. And so for you to be sitting here like this and saying that and able to say those words, I think that this is exactly the time that you're supposed to be doing exactly what you're doing right now.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I do feel that in my bones. And I was very lucky to meet Bailey, because I don't know that if we haven't been having these conversations, I don't know that every time we do it again, I would keep getting like clearer and like, I want to say better, because I think we've been vibing since day one.
I mean, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But it just gets clearer and it gets a little bit easier to accept, oh, this is like, I think what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. I'm meant to be like using my voice in this way. Mm-hmm. But enough about me. I don't want to talk about me anymore.
Okay, fine.
At least not right this second. So just like laying the baseline, because I want to, the reason you popped into my head, because of course we've known each other for so long and I've seen you like go through so many things. When I met you, you were dating somebody for a significant amount of time. And I had mentioned her family. She is related to John Travolta. Her father and John are brothers. Yes. And I think it's important to your story, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but it's important to your story because I think it impacted your relationship to like finances, love, like a whole lot of things. I'm going to let you talk more about it, but I just wanted to kind of like lead it up with that. So with your family, and then in return, your relationship, which I've only knew you, like you guys would come over to my family dinners. My parents like loved both of you together. It was the only way that I knew Nicole was with this person. And we did everything together. That when we were together, we did things together. It was never like, oh, he wasn't there. Right. You guys lived together. It was like a whole thing. And then they got engaged and it was like a whole other big thing. And we were all excited. And we knew that the planning of the wedding and everything that happened in between was going to be like this insane experience, and it was. It was everything from the bridal shower at the peninsula, yeah,
ridiculous,
to the insane bachelorette party in Vegas that I'm still not recovered from. Mm-hmm. So over the top wedding, it was so much fun, it was insane. And then we were all very surprised to hear that like a year later plus little-ish, that you guys were getting divorced. And I think it made you really vulnerable. And from an outside perspective, again, I don't want to speak for you, but like really put you down into a place where you had to like climb and claw your way out, which we've talked about before because I've been in a similar situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same. I think we've all had a moment where we've literally been clawing ourselves out from the deepest, darkest.
Yes. And the reason why, I did say it earlier, but like you are so important to have on this episode is like you clawed your way out. You're still doing it, but like now you're actually like putting it out for the world to experience this like rock bottom moment that had you reestablish like who you wanted to be and what you wanted your life to look like, because you could have gone in so many different directions.
Yeah. So I met my ex at a very, very young age. I was, I think, 16 or 17 years old. Yeah. And I had sort of, I mean, when I think about my life before him, it was very much, I was sort of, like I said, it was just my mom and I, and I had gone through a lot of, changes with my parents going through divorce. And then my mom, we had no money. And I think that that's always something that people are like, well, wait, she's a Travolta. And that's sort of what lends itself to what I'm about to tell you is that, that doesn't matter. He's my family and we have a wonderful, great family, but, he's my uncle and he's not even my mom's brother, you know what I mean? Sure. Like, so we were like very much, in this sort of situation of, my mom was sort of clawing her way out of something and was in a not great relationship with a guy. And so I sort of was a bat out of hell during high school and started, sort of dabbling in all the things that you really shouldn't be doing at that young of an age, like when I was 13, 14, whatever. Yeah. And then when I got out of that, I met my ex and he had it was very stable and we had a lot of fun together. And then we were together for literally from the last part of my teenage years all the way through my 20s. And, I don't feel like I really knew myself at all. No. And I was sort of I always say now that how I feel is that I don't feel like I've ever really in my life felt like I was planted with 2 feet on the ground. I don't feel like I've ever felt like I was in a very stable place in my life. I always feel like I was, full speed ahead to the next thing or handling this thing over here or where am I living or what am I doing or whatever. So, during this time, I had a severe spending addiction, like severe. Now, at the time, did I think it was a spending addiction? Absolutely not. I thought I was, doing the greater good for the world at this point. Like my Celine bags were changing lives. But I essentially, and very similarly to my mom, went and opened up credit cards to you name it, I had it the second I turned 18 and I just spent and I felt this feeling of importance that, my name sort of matched who I was supposed to be and people immediately put on me that I must have a luxurious life. And it's like, my family has worked very hard for the things that they have in their life. And that doesn't reflect what everybody else should have or shouldn't have.
No, and like the pressure that must put on him, right? Not to get too much into it, but I can imagine just in any sort of family dynamic like that, it must be like, whoa,
It's a very, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And I think that there were so many deeper things, but the real brunt of it is that I was essentially buying this facade of myself and creating this whole different Nicole. And through that, I was hiding it. I wasn't telling anybody and I had all this debt. And then I got very, very fortunate with some commercials and was bringing in a ton of money and I was spending all of it. And I'm talking like we would go to clubs and I'd get like a table at Les Deux for, thousands of dollars and invite all my friends or, buy my friends things. Or I would, go and get Christian Louboutin shoes. Like it was out of control, $500 face creams. But in the moment, it was like this, doing that really made me feel good. Like it was this weird validated me in some sort of way that now everything matched, everything made sense. And no one knew that I was drowning in all of this, but I had all this stuff. So every time I went out, I was completely put together in, like Hervé Leger dress with my Christian Louboutin heels and a Chanel bag. And I'm not saying that I don't like all that stuff because that's ridiculous when people are like, oh, and I'm over it. And now I'm living, in sheets and that's wrong. I love all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that I was doing it in a way of where I couldn't afford to be doing it. And it was affecting other people. My choices were affecting other people. And I was just, it got so out of control that I was going to like stores that you could buy things on your cards and then return those things for cash refunds so I could just pay the bills from the other cards. Like I was spiraling.
Yeah.
And so my ex and I had issues sort of throughout our relationship, but like Haley said, we became the couple. We were together, a known entity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that was everyone's identity of us. Mm-hmm. So we get engaged, and I think we had so many things that we had to work out that we just never did. Mm-hmm. And very soon after this insanely extravagant wedding, and there's a fun fact about me, I never wanted to get married. That was something that I was very hard on in my life, that I was like, I don't want to get married. I saw what it did to my parents. Like my dad was in a previous marriage before his now third marriage. Like I don't want this because and then all of a sudden I was doing it. But the way that it was for me, it was like I was living in fantasy land. So I had the perfect ring. I had the perfect dress. I had the perfect wedding. It looked like a fairy tale. And it was so fun.
It was.
But every little detail would throw me out of my mind because I needed it to be perfect. And when I think back to it, I remember I was so scared the morning of the wedding that I was like doing this thing that I really wasn't ever sure that I wanted to do. And the whole day for me was an absolute blur.
Yeah.
I can't remember so many moments of that day. It felt as though I was like someone put like a plastic grocery bag over me, and everyone had the time of their lives, and everyone was like, oh my God, but the reality is that like my parents helped pay for that wedding, but then I slung thousands and thousands of dollars that I did not have into this. So then this all happens, and we end everything, and or we end the wedding, and we get back, and we start unraveling. We are literally falling apart in real time. Now, I'm not going to speak on my ex's behalf because I think that that's his stuff, but I don't believe as individuals we were equipped to handle the life things that were about to be thrown at us. And it started showing like the debt and the this and the that and where the money was going and how was I, where the payments were going. And he like ran a full credit check on me and uncovered all this.
Okay. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So would you say that at this point in your story, because it was about 16 years you were together prior to getting engaged, correct?
No, we got together. We got married at year 10.
Oh, year 10. Together. Okay, but still a significant amount of time together.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, when was it a conversation about the wedding? Because clearly, or like the marriage, because clearly it was something you didn't want, right? But like he pushed for that, I'm imagining, which you don't have to get into like that because I know you don't want to speak too much on his behalf. But I guess my question is, what about getting married made these things like an apparent issue versus all of this time you were together prior?
So I think, first of all, what's funny is that
Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense.
Okay. I think that for us, we like the getting married thing, suddenly I felt like it was all of a sudden I was like, oh, well, this has to be the next thing for us. That's societal pressure that I felt that, oh, we need to do this.
And felt forced.
I felt, and not on his behalf whatsoever, but he knew, I think, and also, I hate to say it, but in many ways enabled the sort of behavior.
I was just going to say, so I don't want to speak ill because I think he's a good human. Yes. And like I have a lot of like love for that time in our lives and who he was then.
100%.
But I also remember like it just being this sort of like a joke. I don't want to, not your relationship.
Yes.
But like it would be like an eye roll, like, oh, Nicole's like up to Nicole things again. And it was like never taken seriously. Whereas now that I know everything that you've gone through and sort of like what you what you did, right? And how you got to the point you're at today, it makes a little more sense. Like, oh, this is like cute. It was like, this is cute about her that she has like another pair of this or another thing like that. And I think it just sort of like built up where you had to like live in this role and he had to live in that role of, okay, this is my cute little, you know, and she's so cute. She still is, but she was like this cute, beautiful, you know, little thing. And he just was like, oh, this is like cute Nicole buying another pair of shoes and not really asking questions and you not really feeling like you needed to explain yourself to anybody. And I think because of that, so it's not necessarily about the getting married part of it. It's more just like, how did this go on for this long? And you didn't know this about each other, right?
And I would argue that he probably did and just ignored it and probably knew that I wouldn't be honest about it. That's the growth is that for me is that like, to be dead honest with you, I think he could have at any point. If he would have, he knew that if he asked me, I think I would have been like, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like you completely. So there is a real world here where this could have gone on for my entire life, right?
Yes.
There's a real world that this just could have kept going. But what happened is that the greatest gift in the world is everything that happened to me within that time. Because what happened is that it was all ripped up. Everything was ripped away. And then I had to get honest and be rebuild. And then I had to look at my whole existence and what the hell is this and where the hell am I going and what am I doing? And the irony of it all is that I was like, working consistently as an actor and getting all these great jobs, and then when this all happened, it just stopped. And so the healing that I had to do and the asking myself questions of why, and for me you start, it's learned behavior, and then you have to go back and go, well, why am I doing this? And what really, I think for when I really started writing my show and I started getting into all of it, was being honest, but then also realizing the very real thing here was that I was like, I don't love myself.
Yeah.
And my self-worth is so incredibly low that I am actively in all different aspects of my life trying to fix that by whether it's buying things, and it's played out in other ways for me of business relationships that I've gotten myself into and other relationships that I've gotten myself into that have literally ripped my soul to the ground. And I don't talk about my name and all those things a lot. I'll address it, but it's just, I believe that this is my reality and this is my family, and I'm protective of my family.
As you should be.
And that's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And this is no one's fault.
No.
It's the projection of, oh, you're a Travolta,
so then you
should have this, and that. And it is very confusing. Especially when you leave LA and then you move somewhere like Florida, where it's not the norm. Here in LA, it's
which is where
norm.
she grew up, just so you know.
Oh, yeah, like when we left LA and then I grew up in Florida, and so it was confusing to go from somewhere where it's like everywhere is someone's niece or daughter or nephew or cousin. You know, it's very normal here.
Yeah.
But when you move somewhere where it's not normal, people lose their mind, and they lose their mind in ways that you're like, what is happening? You know, because they at Starbucks, they go apeshit because of who you are. So it really plays a part in all of this, you know?
And you would say, I mean, I'm sure you felt that expectation from a very young age.
Yeah.
Like in those early adolescent years where it's like that expectation and should not be, you're feeling a gazillion other things and just trying to learn how to like exist as a human on this earth.
Right.
But I mean, I can't even imagine feeling that pressure of like, this is who people expect me to be and how much they expect me to have.
And expecting you to know how to love yourself and to know what your worth is outside of those things, right?
Yeah.
So like we grew up in fairly normal, I hate to use that word, but like normal upbringings. And so the fact that I was a good singer and that like I did good in school and that, you know, whatever, I was a good swimmer.
Yeah.
Like all of these little things taught me how to love, respect myself, to know what I deserved, to know that like, oh, if I got an A, it's because I studied really hard and I deserve that A. So it's a weird way for me to put it, but I think because we had those sort of like normal things of just learning how to respect and appreciate ourselves. Not that you didn't have those things, but I can't remember. Like I'm thinking back to you ever telling me like, oh, I did this in high school. I was a cheerleader. I don't think you did, right?
I was just cheer. I know I was.
With
I was
cheerleader.
a cheerleader.
Okay.
But no, my high school. I mean, because I was. I feel like I've been an adult. I don't want to get emotional, but I feel like I've been an adult longer than I've been, or a kid, adult longer than I was ever able to be a kid.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that we put so much on other people of, you know, what we think or how we think that they should be or whatever, and you don't understand how that can affect somebody from even a very, very young age. And I did not learn I learned to not put up with a lot of shit. Like that's the one thing that I will say that I've learned is that like you don't take anyone's shit, and I can really push past that. But sometimes I find myself where I'm like in these situations where I'm like, this is not what I deserve. And I'm treating my energy like, I don't know if you saw that thing that Taylor Swift said. Okay, so
like a currency.
Yes, like you're treating your energy. I mean, treating it like it's cheap. And I'm allowing people to come in and, you know, just to take me out. And then, but also I have to take responsibility for allowing myself to allow that in. Do you know what I mean?
So I think yes. Okay, there's certain.
I want to appreciate your vulnerability too in that moment. Because I was thinking to myself that I wish anyone that listens to this could like be in the room with you right now, because like the power I'm feeling from you is so incredible and strong and just really meaningful to be around. So I appreciate you sharing.
No, it's true. And I think that like I'm getting emotional now too for multiple reasons. One, because I know you, and you know, everything that I said in the beginning is absolutely true. So to see you like go through this journey and get to whatever side you're at right now and where you're going is amazing. But the other piece of it, I'm thinking of my brother, and you know, I talk about him all the time and it's hard not to talk about him, but I think of like, he was this like big hockey star, right? And he was elevated his whole life. It was the only thing that his value was wrapped up in. He did not know how to love or value himself.
It's okay. We got this.
Outside of being really good at hockey.
See, you should have gotten the wine.
I know.
I'm telling you.
And so like hearing you talk about it, it's like I had this like weird vision of like, it was a very bizarre experience in that moment, but he just never knew how to love himself outside of being good at hockey. And so once that was taken away, he fell apart and things just got really bad. And it was a 20-year journey of like ups and downs and like trying to find that feeling again. And he never found it. And so I just want you to know that there are going to be people like this story might feel like silly or whatever, but it's really not. Like this is a real story of somebody who didn't know how to love and value themselves. And I truly think that the journey that you're going on is teaching you how to do that. And in order for you to get to that point, you have to go through all this stuff.
I totally agree with you.
And you get it, right? Like he never got it. He never got to that point, and he died, right? And so like just saying that out loud is sometimes like mind blowing, like that my brother is dead. It's insane.
It's an insane thing to hear. I can't.
But it is the like same experience, right? Like you as kids. So you don't have to like hold so much weight of like feeling like you should have been responsible enough to know that like this is how I should be loved, or this is what I deserve, because you didn't know, and like you didn't have the tools to know. And we don't want to blame like parents and stuff, because I always say parents do the best that they can
I agree.
in the moment with the information that they have. And I truly think that that is true for my parents' sake with my brother.
Heck, we're both probably feeling that ourselves right now,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
You
exactly.
did yesterday the
I
best
did
with
yesterday.
what you could have.
Yep.
With what you had.
Exactly. And, you know, he just never was taught how to love himself outside of this one thing. And it carried him all the way into his 40s, and then he died. And so it's important to be able to like be vulnerable about these things that tear us down, and like the things that hold us back from truly stepping into the absolute best person that we can step into because of moments like this, right? Because I now have somebody who's dead in my life because he never had the opportunity to hear a story like this, you know, to be able to say, oh, that's like me. I never knew how to love myself outside of this one thing that people told me I was supposed to be good at.
Yeah.
And he was good at it, but then, you know, it stopped. And then what? And it's super powerful. And I want to let you continue because I think there's even like more to this. I want to talk about sort of like your triumphs out of it, and where you're at now. And, you know, I know that there's even more to the journey. And if you want to talk about anything else, if you feel like anything got left out that you think is going to add value, you absolutely should talk about it. But I also want to make sure we get to like the good stuff too, because like you are in such a good place, again, from the outside perspective. I think that there's still always going to be work to be done.
Yes.
But yeah, so
I think that, you know, listen, I think
we're all crying, by the way.
I know, everyone's crying.
We're all
what
crying.
what a cool thing to be in a space where that is welcome and feels safe and just
it's the best
like that's
feeling.
what we're all trying to create here, right?
Absolutely.
I think that that's the thing too, is that just like my biggest thing that if I could say one thing to anybody is just to allow people the space to go through things and to not understand what they're going through. And I think for me is that the immediate is like, oh, shopping, you know, whatever, is that like, that's just a piece of it. Is that the bigger deal here is that, you know, it wasn't drugs, it wasn't alcohol for me, but it was creating this human being that, you know, didn't really exist. Like there was a version of it, but it was like I was creating like my own television show, if you will. Like I was like Cher from Clueless, you know, that's what I was doing. And realizing this, like I'm talking like going through this and really realizing all of these things. And then it's not just about, you know, the shopping or the show specifically becoming a spray tanner. Like it's really not about that. It's about loving yourself and stop looking. You have to stop looking for love to fill this void in all these different places, when really what you have to do is just figure out how to love yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like it's hokey to say, but it's so true.
It's
like
so cliche, but there's no other way to say it.
No.
Like,
No.
There's literally it's grasping to anything instead of turning inwards.
Right.
When you said figure out how to love yourself, your shoulders relaxed, you had this big smile on your face. Like you could tell that revelation for you was incredibly important.
I mean,
it
you
bared
guys,
so much weight.
I feel like I have consistently now I've done it in forms of people that I've truly allowed to come in and just like tear up everything and then leave.
Yeah.
And I think where I'm sitting today now I feel like I've turned this corner where I'm like, no. I am at the point in my life that if you are going to take away my peace, you are not allowed to come shopping in here.
No.
Like I am not available for you to, I am not a grocery store. I am not any of, like, you are not allowed to come in here. The store is closed. And it's only open right now to myself, which is why where I'm at today is I took this whole thing, and when I really felt like I started to heal, I had this idea of, because I don't feel like this type of thing is something that people talk about a lot, is that the debt and the divorce, it's very shameful, and I think people get very shameful about money.
Yes.
And So I had this idea and I brought it to my co-writer and director of that leg of the show. Her name is Lauren Burns, and her jaw was on the ground. She's like, you have to write this. And so we sort of worked together for like 2 years and wrote it, or a year and wrote it. And then I opened it at the Groundlings, and it's literally about everything we've talked about. It's about debt, divorce, familial trauma, self-love, shame, abandonment. The spray tanning is the fun of it. And then, and what it's really like to sort of come out or be working on coming out of that on the other side. Yeah. And when I opened it, I thought I was doing like 2 shows, and then the whole thing sold out. And then I've now been doing this show all over the world for the last 2 and almost 3 years, which has now led me to being in touch with the side of myself that I knew always lived inside of me, but I just sort of pushed down. And it's the weird part of me, the person who's weird, and I'm wearing wigs and doing impressions and contorting my face and feeling like fully in my body, as opposed to this like well-crafted girl that, is sort of not living to her truth. And now I'm here and I'm single still, which I'm fine with at this very moment. And
anybody out there, you have to come through me and Bailey first.
Yeah. There's a lot of lines now because Nicole's judgment has been very off.
Yes.
But I feel in my power. I feel every day is a bit different, and I'm sort of taking every day, but I'm so proud of being able to get up and have a platform to sort of speak and tell my story. And I believe that this is the journey that I was supposed to go on. And the journey that I was on before, career-wise, I think took this turn because I think that this is
what you're always meant to do.
What I'm always meant to do.
I know I've said it already, but I want to just like reiterate. These sort of stories and being able to publicly show people that you can go through whatever you have to go through, and you can claw your way out. And like, despite all of the mistakes that you feel like you made and that you did make, and all of the shame that you are carrying, and all of the things that you just felt like were not allowing you to step into who you truly are meant to be, can save lives. And I make that relationship to my brother because if anybody had been able to speak to him in a way that he could hear it and tell him that like he had so much more to offer the planet than being good at hockey, I really think he would still be alive today. It's really important. It can save lives because I think people go through their life journey carrying shame and they die with the shame. And dying with that shame stops you from really being who you're meant to be on this planet all along, and really stepping into the most powerful version of that. Right.
Yeah. Your ability to take ownership of what you've gone through is what I like. One of my biggest takeaways today is just in what I've been feeling from you in this room is that I think what a lot of people are missing in this journey is really taking ownership. It's like honesty. We can say we're doing the work all the time, but yes, I remember that specific statement out of you was like, I had to get honest.
You just had, I hate to be the cliche person, but you know what? I'm going to be a little bit of the cliche person here, is that like, I sometimes think about what I would say to my younger self if I met her and I saw, and like I could say something to her. And I seriously think that the one thing that I would tell her is that I love her. Because I feel like I have let that part of me just dissipate, that I just would love to say, if I could look myself face to face, it would just be, I love you. And I know that I can tell myself that, but if there was a world that you could go, you know, and we are not a product of our mistakes.
No,
we are not a product of mistakes. And people make big mistakes and small mistakes, and people are going to shut you out, shame you.
You're going to fail.
You're going to fail. Mm-hmm. But I really believe that the magic is in like getting back up and walking forward. We don't naturally walk backwards.
No.
So we just have to keep taking steps forwards. And honestly, truly, I connect so much to people that have gone through things in their life. Pain, I believe, is pain, even though it can be on different levels. And I love what you guys are doing here. And I love that you're basically opening up a platform to women, especially, that can feel a connection. And the greatest gift I have ever felt is connecting to people that are in the audience of my show and how that story will impact them. And then now I feel connected to them forever. And so I'm so grateful that you had me here, and I'm so excited for you guys, and I'm really honored.
The feeling is so mutual. And I have to give us like a nod in this moment that you're feeling that through us, because that was a huge part of why Haley and I knew between each other that we shared something special as in our friendship. But we would have, these run-ins with people who were like, do you guys have a podcast? Do you have like a platform you talk together? Because they just felt this like connection and warmth when they were around us individually, but specifically together. And that was everything we wanted out of this podcast. And just people, we hope to host retreats one day and bring women into rooms where they just feel seen and they know that they can be the best version of themselves. So the feeling is so mutual. And I feel like changed, honestly, by meeting you today. And really, I love her. And I'm like, I'm like emotional and just so inspired by you. And I can't wait to see your show and just keep rooting for you and to be in your circle now. So
what a group of, what a love.
Right?
Seriously.
Love fest.
The world is in for a treat with you girls. What a bunch of powerful women. So.
Yes. And back at you.
Chills. I got chills.
Thanks for listening to A Splash More. If you like this episode, make sure you like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, and let us know if there's any topics you want us to cover in the future. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.